She said, "Let's just be friends," I replied. Perfect. Then I treated her exactly like I treat my other friends, with boundaries. She discovered what just friends really meant when I started dating her hot coworker. I'm 28M. She's 26F. We dated for about a year and a half. Nothing explosive, no cheating that I know of, just a slow erosion that I kept pretending was a phase. You know the kind. Less affection, more sarcasm, everything you do somehow being slightly wrong. About 2 months ago, she asked to meet for coffee. That alone should have tipped me off. She never wanted to talk things out, unless she'd already made up her mind. She didn't even pretend to be nervous, just wrapped both hands around her cup, sighed dramatically, and said, "I think we should just be friends. Not take a break. Not work on things. Friends." Then she hit me with the line that still annoys me when I think about it. "You're really important to me. I just don't see you that way anymore." I waited for the rest. There was none. So I said, "Okay, perfect." That actually threw her off. She blinked and said, "Wait, really?" "Yeah," I replied. "Friends." She smiled, visibly relieved. Started explaining how this would be so mature of us, how she didn't want to lose me, how I was one of her best people. She even joked that nothing would really change. That was the part one didn't correct. Because in my head, something clicked. I wasn't angry. I wasn't heartbroken. I was clear. Friends have rules. Friends don't get boyfriend privileges. Friends don't get emotional labor on demand. Friends don't get access to my time just because they're bored or lonely. I paid for my coffee, wished her luck, and left. Later that night, she texted me like nothing had happened. Sent a meme. Then another. Then WID. That's when I realized she thought just friends meant same attention, zero responsibility. I decided not to argue. I decided to show her instead. The shift happened immediately. That's what surprised me. The morning after the friends talk, she texted me like usual. "Did you sleep okay?" I didn't reply until after work. Not to be petty, just because I was busy. With my life. Something she apparently hadn't factored into this new arrangement. When I finally did respond, I kept it light. Friendly. Short. "Yeah. Hope you're good." No follow-up question. No opening for a long emotional check-in. She noticed. That evening, she called me. Not FaceTime. A regular call, like she expected privacy and attention. I let it ring twice before picking up. "Hey," she said. "You sound distant." "I'm not," I replied. "Just got back from the gym." There was a pause. "Oh, you usually text me when you get home." "Yeah," I said. "Usually." She laughed awkwardly. "Okay, so what are you doing tonight?" I thought about it for a second, then answered honestly. "Grabbing dinner with a friend." She perked up. "Oh, who?" "Just a friend," I said. That annoyed her. I could hear it. "Which one?" I smiled to myself. "Does it matter?" Another pause. Longer this time. "Well, I just thought maybe we could hang out," she said. "Like old times. You know, as friends." There it was. The expectation. "Can't tonight," I said. "Maybe another time." She sighed, sharp and theatrical. "Wow, you changed fast." "No," I said calmly. "We did." She didn't like that answer. I could tell by the way her tone shifted. "I didn't mean we stopped talking." "We didn't," I said. "We're talking right now." Silence. After we hung up, I realized something important. She wasn't missing me. She was missing access. The reassurance. The constant availability. The safety net of knowing I was there whenever she felt bored, insecure, or lonely. Friends don't work like that. Over the next few days, I kept doing exactly what I said I would. I treated her like any other friend. I didn't cancel plans for her. I didn't answer immediately. I didn't play therapist when she vented about work. She started pushing back. Little comments. Little digs. "Must be nice not caring anymore. You're acting kind of cold." I guess I mattered less than I thought. I didn't argue. I didn't explain. I just kept my boundaries where they were. And that's when she started getting mean. Not openly. Subtly. The kind of bitchy that only shows up when someone realizes they've lost control, but haven't admitted it to themselves yet. About a week into our new friendship, she stopped pretending everything was fine. It started small. She'd reply slower, then suddenly double text if I didn't engage the way I used to. She'd send vague messages like, "Wow, guess I know where I stand." When I asked what she meant, she'd say, "Nothing. Forget it." Classic. One night, she asked if I could help her move a bookshelf. Normally, I would have dropped whatever I was doing. Instead, I checked my calendar and said, "I can't tonight." She didn't like that. "You never used to say no," she snapped. I know, I replied. That was when we were dating. There was a long pause before she said, You're really leaning into this friends thing, huh? That was your idea. She laughed, but it wasn't friendly. God, you're being so literal. I didn't mean you stopped showing up for me. I almost pointed out that friends don't expect free labor on demand, but I let it go. No lecture, no explanation, just boundaries. That's when the guilt-tripping escalated. She'd bring up memories randomly. Remember when you used to come over just because? Or, my friends keep asking why you don't care anymore. She framed it like concern, but it was accusation wrapped in nostalgia. I stayed consistent, polite, warm even, but unavailable. Then came the comment that made everything crystal clear. We were texting about work, and she casually dropped, It's kind of weird seeing you act like you don't want me anymore. I stared at my phone for a long time before responding. I don't want you, I wrote. You said we're friends. That one hit a nerve. She fired back almost instantly. Wow, so that's how easy it was for you? Easy, like I'd been waiting for permission to detach. Like the year and a half before that hadn't slowly worn me down. No, I typed. It wasn't easy. It's just clear. She didn't respond after that. Not for the rest of the night. The next morning, though, she posted a story. Nothing obvious. Just a selfie with the caption, Some people only care when they're needed. I watched it, set my phone down, and went about my day. Because at that point, I knew exactly what was happening. She didn't want me as a boyfriend. She just didn't want me to stop acting like one. Things took a turn the moment she realized guilt wasn't working. She switched strategies. Suddenly, she was sweet again. Random check-ins. Compliments that felt a week late. You've been looking really good lately, she texted one afternoon, followed by a winky face I hadn't seen since we were still together. I replied with a thumbs up. That did not land well. That evening, she asked if I wanted to grab a drink. Just like old times, she said. As friends. I agreed on my terms. One drink. Public place. No late night wandering back to anyone's apartment. She showed up dressed like it was a date. Not casual. Intentional. The kind of outfit she used to wear when she wanted attention but didn't want to ask for it directly. 5 minutes in, she was already complaining. You've been really distant, she said, stirring her drink aggressively. I feel like you're punishing me. I'm not, I said. I'm treating you like a friend. She scoffed. Friends don't act like this. My friends do, I replied. They don't expect exclusivity or emotional priority. Her jaw tightened. So you're just what? Waiting to replace me? I shrugged. I'm living my life. That's when she leaned back and said, I didn't think you'd move on this fast. I didn't correct her, because I hadn't moved on. I just moved out of the role she kept trying to keep me in. Halfway through the drink, she asked if I was seeing anyone. No, I said. Her shoulders relaxed instantly. She didn't even try to hide it. Then she said, casually, Good. I'd hate if things got awkward between us. That was the moment I understood everything. She didn't want me. She wanted me available. When we left, she tried to hug me. A long one. Familiar. I stepped back and gave her the same quick side hug I give coworkers. Her smile froze. You're really serious about this, she said. Yeah, I replied. You asked for friends. She watched me walk away like she'd just realized a rule she'd made didn't work in her favor. And a few days later, completely by accident, I met someone who made all of this very inconvenient for her. Her name was Lily. I didn't meet her in some dramatic, movie-worthy way. She worked in marketing at a tech company down the street from my office. We'd crossed paths a few times in the elevator, exchanged polite smiles, nothing more. The kind of person you register as attractive but don't think about again. Until one evening, my ex texted me, You busy? For the third time that week, and I decided to actually go out instead of staying home out of habit. A coworker invited me to a casual happy hour. Lily was there. She was warm in a way that felt unfamiliar after months of walking on eggshells. She laughed easily, asked questions, and actually listened to the answers. Didn't interrupt. Didn't make little jokes at my expense. At one point she said, You seem really grounded. Like it was a compliment instead of a setup. I remember thinking how strange it felt to not feel evaluated. We talked for maybe 40 minutes. Nothing flirty. Just easy. When she mentioned she worked with my ex, same building, different floor, it barely registered. At the end of the night, she said, A few of us are grabbing coffee this weekend if you want to join. I said yes. I didn't text my ex about it. Didn't feel the need to. 2 days later, I posted a harmless story. Group shot. Coffee cups. Nothing incriminating. Lily was tagged by someone else, not me. An hour later, my phone buzzed. Is that Lily from my office? I stared at the message, then replied honestly. Yeah, we're friends. That word again. Friends. She didn't reply for a while. Then, wow, that was fast. I almost laughed. Fast compared to what? The emotional limbo she'd put me in? The months of slow detachment? I typed back. You said you wanted to be friends. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. I didn't mean like this. I set my phone down. Because for the first time since the breakup, something felt genuinely new. And I had a feeling she was about to learn that just friends doesn't mean still mine when I feel like it. Things escalated quickly after that. The next time she texted me, the tone was different. Sharp. Defensive. So you're really hanging out with Lily now? I replied the same way I'd reply to any friend asking a question. Yeah, we're getting coffee again this week. She didn't respond for a few minutes. Then, you know that's weird, right? Weird made me smile. A month ago, she was comfortable rewriting the rules of our relationship on the fly. Now suddenly rules mattered. Why is it weird? I asked. Because you and I are still. She trailed off, then corrected herself, friends. So are Lily and I. That's when the bitchiness stopped being subtle. She started sending paragraphs. How this felt disrespectful. How it was kind of shady to date someone she worked with. How Lily wasn't even that great and had a reputation for flirting with everyone. The bitterness leaked through every sentence. I didn't defend Lily. I didn't attack my ex. I just kept responding calmly, evenly, like I would with any friend who was overstepping. I don't see the issue, I wrote. Friends don't get veto power over each other's dating lives. That message set her off. Wow. So now you're trying to hurt me on purpose? There it was. The assumption that my life decisions revolved around her emotional comfort. I'm not doing anything to you, I replied. I'm just not prioritizing you anymore. She left me on read for the rest of the night. The next morning, she posted another story. This one less vague. A quote about fake people and watching who switches up when they think you're replaceable. I almost admired the lack of self-awareness. Later that day, Lily texted me. Hey, just a heads up, your ex was pretty cold to me at work today. Did I step into something? I stared at the screen, then typed back honestly. You didn't do anything wrong. She just doesn't like boundaries. Lily replied with a laughing emoji and said, good to know. That ease. That lack of drama. It felt unreal. And that's when it hit me. My ex wasn't upset because I was dating. She was upset because I was doing it without asking her first. And she was running out of ways to pretend that just friends still meant control. She didn't come at me directly after that. Instead, she tried to go around me. A mutual friend texted me one night, completely out of the blue. Hey man, are you okay? She says you're kind of spiraling. I actually laughed. Out loud. I replied, I'm doing great. Why? Turns out she'd been telling people I was acting out of character, that I was being passive-aggressive, that I was clearly not over her. According to her, dating Lily was some kind of revenge arc. The funny part? She never once mentioned that she was the one who asked to be just friends. A few days later, she finally confronted me face to face. Cornered me outside a bar we both used to go to, arms crossed. Expression already loaded. So you're really dating her, she said flatly. I am, I replied. She shook her head like she was disappointed in me. I didn't think you were that kind of guy. What kind? I asked. The kind who moves on with someone I see every day, she snapped. It's embarrassing. For who? I asked. She opened her mouth, then closed it. You know what I mean. No, I said calmly. I don't. That sent her over the edge. You're doing this to prove something, she said. You want me to feel replaced. I looked at her for a long second before answering. You replaced yourself when you downgraded me to friend, but still expected boyfriend behavior. Her face flushed. That's not fair. Neither was stringing me along, I replied. She scoffed. So what? Lily's your girlfriend now. Yeah, I said. She is. That was the first time I'd said it out loud. And the moment I did, I felt how true it was. She laughed, sharp and bitter. Good luck. She'll get bored of you too. I didn't defend myself. Didn't defend Lily. I just smiled slightly and said, maybe, but she won't expect access to my life after she lets me go. She stood there, stunned, like she'd just realized something irreversible had happened. And for the first time since the breakup, she wasn't the one walking away. I was. After that confrontation, things got uncomfortable fast. Not loud, not dramatic, just tense in that slow, simmering way that tells you someone is replaying conversations in their head and not liking the ending. She stopped texting me entirely, which honestly felt like a relief. But she didn't stop watching. Lily mentioned it casually one night while we were making dinner at my place. "Your ex keeps popping up on my Instagram," she said, half laughing. "She watched my story from yesterday. Like, immediately." I shrugged. "She's very online." Lily raised an eyebrow. "Is this going to be a thing?" That question mattered more than any of my ex's passive-aggressive stories ever had. "No," I said, and I meant it. The difference with Lily was subtle but constant. She didn't ask who else I was talking to, didn't need reassurance that she mattered. When I said I was busy, she believed me instead of taking it as a personal insult, which made the contrast impossible to ignore. A few days later, my ex finally broke her silence with a wall of text. No greeting, no context, just straight into it. She said she felt discarded, that it was wild how quickly I'd replaced her, that I clearly never cared as much as she thought. She accused Lily of being a rebound and me of being emotionally avoidant. I read it once, then again, slowly. Then I replied with one sentence. "You told me we were friends. This is what friends look like." She lost it. "You're being cruel on purpose," she fired back. "You know exactly what you're doing." I put my phone down and didn't respond. That night, Lily and I went out with her coworkers. Casual bar, low lights, easy laughter. At one point she leaned over and said, "I really like how uncomplicated you are." I almost laughed at the irony. Across the room, I saw a familiar face. My ex. She'd walked in with some friends and froze when she saw us. Saw Lily's hand on my arm. Saw me leaning in to hear her over the music. For a moment, our eyes met. She looked shocked, then angry, then something else I couldn't quite place. Regret, maybe. I didn't wave, didn't look away either. Just turned back to Lily and kept talking. Later, Lily asked quietly, "Was that her?" "Yeah," I said. She nodded. "Okay." No interrogation. No insecurity. Just acceptance. And I realized then that my ex wasn't mad because I was dating someone new. She was mad because I was happy without needing her permission. After that night, the dynamic finally flipped. She stopped pretending she was indifferent. The passive-aggressive posts disappeared. The mutual friends stopped checking in. It was like she realized the audience wasn't buying the story anymore. Instead, she went direct. She texted me late one evening. No preamble. "So you're really serious about her?" I was at Lily's place, sitting on the couch while she was in the kitchen arguing with herself about whether garlic counted as a personality trait. It felt normal. Easy. "Yeah," I replied. "I am." There was a long pause before her response came through. "I just don't get how you could move on like that." That line annoyed me more than it should have. Not because it was hurtful, but because it was dishonest. "You moved on first," I typed. "You just wanted me to stay." That one didn't get an immediate reply. When it did, it was classic her. "I didn't think you'd take friends so literally. Most people don't just cut someone off emotionally." I exhaled slowly before responding. "I didn't cut you off," I wrote. I adjusted. She called me after that. I didn't answer. She tried again. I declined it. Then came the voice message. Her tone was softer now. Controlled. Almost reasonable. "I wasn't trying to lose you," she said. "I just needed you to stay while I figured things out." There it was. Finally said out loud. I didn't reply right away. I went back inside and helped Lily set the table. We ate dinner. Talked about weekend plans. Laughed about something stupid. Then, later that night, I sent one last message. "Friends don't wait in limbo while you explore your options." That was it. No argument. No insults. No explaining. She didn't respond. The next day, Lily told me my ex had requested to follow her on Instagram. Lily declined it without comment and handed me her phone like it was a non-issue. "Boundaries," she said with a grin. I smiled back, because at that point, I finally understood something important. My ex didn't lose me when I started dating someone else. She lost me the moment she assumed I'd accept less just to stay connected. And that was a lesson she wasn't handling well at all. It's been a couple of months now, and things have settled into something I didn't expect. Peace. No late-night texts. No just checking in. No passive-aggressive stories meant for me to see. She finally stopped orbiting my life once it became clear there was nothing left to orbit around. Lily and I are still together. Still easy. Still normal in the best possible way. We argue sometimes, sure, but there's no scorekeeping. No tests. No unspoken expectations that I owe her my time just because she wants it. The last time I heard about my ex was through a mutual friend. Apparently, she'd been complaining that I changed after the breakup. That I became emotionally unavailable and cold. I didn't bother correcting that. Because from my perspective, I didn't become cold. I became consistent. I stopped bending myself into whatever shape made someone else comfortable while quietly resenting it. I stopped offering access to parts of my life that weren't being respected. When she said, "Let's just be friends," she thought she was choosing freedom without consequence. She thought friendship meant the benefits of intimacy without the responsibility. She thought I'd stay exactly where I was, available, validating, loyal, just without the label. What she didn't account for was boundaries. Real ones. Friends don't get exclusivity. Friends don't get emotional priority. Friends don't get to be upset when you move on. And friends definitely don't get to decide who you date. When she saw me with Lily, happy, relaxed, not looking back, that's when it finally hit her. Just friends wasn't a downgrade for me. It was a reset. So yeah, I treated her exactly like I treat my other friends. With respect, with distance, and with a life that doesn't revolve around keeping them comfortable. Turns out, that was the part she couldn't handle. And honestly, that told me everything I ever needed to know.